It wasn't just about earning more. The shift happened grasping what Bob Proctor taught. Your thoughts create your reality via feelings and vibration. Genuine gratitude, even for small financial wins or current resources, wasn't just a feeling. It directly instructed my subconscious. As Bob put it, whatever you are holding in your conscious mind, you are impressing upon the subconscious. Daily focus on financial well-being with deep appreciation began overriding years of scarcity. This simple daily code of gratitude, practiced consistently, unlocks potential by shifting those internal barriers. If this resonates with you, please like and subscribe for more. Understanding this shift, really integrating it beyond just the concept, was the crucial turning point. It wasn't enough to intellectually grasp that my thoughts influenced my reality. I had to internalize it, feel it in my bones, especially concerning money. Bob Proctor always talked about the conscious mind being the thinker, the part that chooses, thoughts, and the subconscious mind being the doer, the part that takes those thoughts, mixes them with feelings, and turns them into results. He used the analogy of the conscious mind being the gardener planting seeds, and the subconscious mind being the garden itself. Whatever seeds you plant, good or bad, the garden grows them without judgment. My garden, for years, had been overgrown, with weeds of scarcity, fear, and lack, sown by unconscious thoughts and deeply rooted beliefs. This is where the Coda B principle became my daily spade, my watering can, my careful hand pulling weeds and planting new seeds. It's a code, a set of instructions given deliberately and consistently to that fertile garden of the subconscious. And the primary instruction, the most powerful seed, is gratitude. But not just a surface level, polite thank you. It's a profound, felt sense of appreciation for what is and for what is on its way. Bob explained that the subconscious mind doesn't reason. It doesn't analyze or filter. It simply accepts what the conscious mind feeds it, especially when those thoughts are charged with emotion. My years spent stressing over bills, focusing on what I didn't have, feeling the knot of anxiety in my stomach. Those weren't just fleeting thoughts. They were emotional directives telling my subconscious, this is our reality. Lack, struggle, not enough. And my subconscious, diligently and without question, went about creating that reality. The brilliance of gratitude as a reprogramming tool, as Bob highlighted, lies in its fundamental vibration. Scarcity vibrates at a low frequency. Fear, worry, lack. Abundance vibrates at a high frequency. Joy, appreciation, plenty. When you cultivate genuine gratitude, you are intentionally shifting your vibration. You are telling the subconscious, we are operating from a place of having, of enough, of good things coming. And the subconscious, again, without questioning, begins to align your behavior and your perception of the world with that vibration. It starts looking for evidence of things to be grateful for, attracting circumstances that match this higher frequency. The challenge, and the reason this needs to be a daily code, is the power of the existing paradigm. Bob called the paradigm a multitude of habits. It's our mental programming, largely installed by the time we're 7 years old, controlling our perception, our habits, our behaviors, and ultimately, our results. My financial paradigm was deeply programmed for scarcity. It dictated my actions, my reactions to money, my comfort zone a zone of having just enough or slightly less. Trying to simply think positive thoughts occasionally was like trying to redirect a massive ship with a tiny rudder. The paradigm, the ship's engine and autopilot, kept pushing towards the familiar waters of lack. Reprogramming requires consistent emotional impression. Bob emphasized that paradigms are formed and changed through repetition of ideas charged with emotion. This is why the Coda B principle isn't just a morning affirmation or a quick thank you before bed. It's a sustained, conscious effort throughout the day to find things to be grateful for. To feel the feeling of gratitude and to deliberately counteract the automatic, scarcity-driven thoughts the paradigm throws up. It might start small, being grateful for the roof over my head, even if the mortgage felt crushing. Grateful for the meal on the table, even if it was simple. Grateful for the functioning car, even if it needed repairs I couldn't yet afford. It felt counterintuitive, at first almost like lying to myself. How could I be genuinely grateful when the numbers in my bank account were low? This is where the feeling part is critical. It's not about pretending a false reality. It's about shifting your internal state, regardless of the external circumstances in that moment. It's about trusting the process, trusting the law, as Bob taught, that your internal state dictates your external results, not the other way around. He often said, "You must be in the feeling of already having what you want to attract it." This applies perfectly to finances. To attract financial abundance, you must cultivate the feeling of financial well-being, of security, of having more than enough. Gratitude is the most direct route to that feeling, because it focuses on having. When you feel gratitude, you are acknowledging something you have, whether it's tangible or intangible, past, present, or future. The daily code became a practice of deliberately focusing my conscious mind on aspects of my life, financial and otherwise, that I could appreciate, and critically, bringing emotion to it. Not just listing things, but taking a moment to feel the relief of knowing the bills did get paid last month, to feel the comfort of a warm home, to feel the satisfaction of a hard day's work, regardless of the paycheck size yet. This emotional charge is what bypasses the critical factor of the conscious mind and impresses the idea of having on to the subconscious. Bob often talked about the law of vibration and the law of attraction working in tandem. Your feelings set your vibration, and your vibration attracts things of like frequency. If I was vibrating at the frequency of lack through worry, fear, complaint, I would continue to attract circumstances that reflected that lack. By deliberately cultivating gratitude, I was changing my broadcast frequency. I was sending out a signal of abundance, security, flow, and the universe, operating on universal law, had to respond by bringing circumstances, ideas, and opportunities that matched that new signal. This wasn't an overnight fix. The old paradigm, those deeply ingrained habits of thought and feeling, would constantly try to pull me back. A late bill, an unexpected expense, a rejection. These would trigger the old fear response. The familiar, not of anxiety. This is where the daily and code aspects are vital. It's a discipline. It requires awareness to catch the old thoughts, acknowledge them without judgment, and then deliberately pivot back to gratitude, back to the feeling of having, back to the desired frequency. It's like training a muscle that has atrophied from disuse. Bob's teachings emphasized persistence. He knew the paradigm wouldn't give up easily. There's a concept he called the terror barrier, a feeling of fear or anxiety that surfaces when you step outside your comfort zone, outside the familiar limits of your paradigm. Trying to operate from a place of abundance when your paradigm is wired for scarcity feels uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar, maybe even scary. This is the paradigm's resistance. Pushing through that resistance with consistent emotional gratitude is how you begin to dismantle the old programming and build the new. The Coda B principle became my method for consistently applying the law of attraction at the level of the subconscious mind. It wasn't about trying to manifest a specific amount of money directly, though that can be a part of it, but about fundamentally changing the internal state that was preventing money and opportunity from flowing. It was about becoming a person who is grateful, a person who feels abundant, so that abundance becomes a natural part of their reality. This daily discipline involves moments of quiet reflection, perhaps meditating on things to be grateful for, visualizing the feeling of financial freedom while simultaneously feeling appreciation for current resources. It involves actively reframing negative financial thoughts as they arise, Instead of "I can't afford this," shifting to "I am grateful for the resources I have right now, and I am attracting more." It's a constant, gentle redirection of mental and emotional energy towards the desired state. The effects aren't always dramatic, sudden windfalls, at least not initially. The shift is often subtle. A feeling of lightness replaces the chronic anxiety. Solutions to financial challenges start to appear seemingly out of nowhere. An unexpected opportunity, a forgotten refund, an idea for a new way to earn. More importantly, my relationship with money began to change. The fear dissipated, replaced by a quiet confidence and trust in the process. I started making different decisions, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of empowerment. These changed behaviors, guided by the new paradigm being built through gratitude, naturally led to different, more abundant results. This principle, this daily code of consciously choosing gratitude and feeling it deeply, is the foundation upon which true financial transformation is built, according to Bob Proctor's principles. It's about cultivating the inner world to change the outer world. Having understood this foundational concept, how the mind works, the power of paradigms, and the mechanism of gratitude, the next step is to explore the practical application and the common challenges that arise when you commit to this path. Implementing the Coda B principle, this daily code of gratitude, wasn't just about intellectually agreeing with Bob Proctor's ideas. It was about turning theory into practice, about embedding this new way of thinking and feeling into the very fabric of my day-to-day existence. The previous understanding of how my mind works, how the paradigm dictates results, and how gratitude shifts vibration was the map. Now it was time to start the journey, mile by mile. It required deliberate action, conscious choice, moment by moment. One of the first practical steps was setting specific times for focused gratitude practice, but just as importantly, cultivating a state of gratitude between those times. It wasn't enough to jot down a few things I was thankful for in a journal in the morning and evening, though that was a powerful starting point. Bob emphasized that the subconscious mind is constantly receiving information, constantly being impressed. A few minutes of gratitude, however heartfelt, would struggle against the torrent of scarcity-based thoughts and feelings that my old paradigm generated throughout the rest of the day. It needed to become a more pervasive awareness. So the daily code expanded. It became a practice of pausing multiple times a day to consciously find something, anything, to feel grateful for. It could be the simple act of drinking clean water, the comfort of a chair, the sunshine through the window, the functioning of my body, the taste of food. The smaller, the more seemingly insignificant, the better sometimes, because it trained my mind to look for abundance in the ordinary, to see that something was always present, always working, always providing. This wasn't about ignoring challenges. It was about deliberately shifting focus and energy towards what was right and what was working, thereby changing the vibrational point of attraction. This constant seeking of things to appreciate was a direct assault on the scarcity paradigm. The old programming would whisper, "Look at the bills you can't pay. Remember that debt? There's never enough." The practice of gratitude was the conscious mind, the gardener, deliberately planting a new seed. I am grateful for the ability to work towards paying those bills. I am grateful for the lessons learned from past debt. I am grateful for the resources I have right now. It was a constant internal dialogue, a retraining of attention. Bob often talked about the power of suggestion and repetition in changing paradigms. He would say, paraphrased, that an idea repeated over and over, especially with emotional intensity, bypasses the conscious mind's critical faculty and lodges itself in the subconscious. This daily, almost relentless seeking and feeling of gratitude was that repetition, charged with the positive emotion of appreciation. It wasn't just an intellectual acknowledgement. It was feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin and being genuinely thankful for that simple physical sensation. It was looking at a loved one and feeling a surge of appreciation for their presence, It was finding something positive, however small, in a frustrating situation and focusing on that aspect. The feeling was the key. Bob Proctor taught that thought. Plus feeling creates vibration, and vibration dictates what you attract. Thinking I should be grateful for my house without genuinely feeling it wouldn't do much. The power came from connecting with the emotion. For finances, this meant cultivating the feeling of financial well-being. How do you feel financially well off when the reality is different? This is where the genius of gratitude comes in. You focus on things you do have, things that are going right, and you amplify the feeling associated with that. Grateful for a warm home? Feel the comfort, the security that provides. Grateful for food? Feel the nourishment, the satisfaction. Grateful for the ability to earn any money? Feel the empowerment, the potential. By focusing on these existing points of having, you generate the feeling of abundance, and that's the vibration you start broadcasting. Bob used to explain it like tuning a radio. If you're tuned to the frequency of lack, that's all you'll hear and experience. If you want to hear the broadcast of abundance, you have to deliberately tune your internal radio to that frequency, and gratitude is the most direct tuning dial. One of the biggest hurdles was dealing with the inevitable, negative thoughts and setbacks. The old paradigm doesn't surrender easily. It's deeply wired into our nervous system, our automatic reactions. When an unexpected expense hit, the first automatic response was often the familiar knot of fear and worry. This is where the code aspect of Coda B became crucial. It's a set of instructions to follow when the old programming tries to take over. The instruction is, acknowledge the thought without judgment, don't beat yourself up for having a fear-based thought, but then immediately and deliberately pivot. Find something, anything, to be grateful for in that moment or related to the situation or completely unrelated. For example, if a bill arrived that I wasn't sure how to pay, the old thought was, oh no, how will I manage this? I don't have enough. The Coda B response was, okay. That thought is the old paradigm. Now, what can I be grateful for right now? I'm grateful for the system that allows bills to be paid. I'm grateful for the opportunity I have to earn income. I'm grateful for past times I did manage to pay bills. I'm grateful for the resourcefulness I know I possess. It's a conscious, active redirection of mental energy. Bob often stressed the importance of faith, not necessarily religious faith, but faith in the unseen, faith in the process, faith in the law. This pivot requires faith that shifting your internal state will indeed lead to external solutions. The challenges also came from external sources. People in my life, perhaps still operating from scarcity paradigms, might express doubt or reinforce negative beliefs about money. Hearing things like money is hard to come by or you have to struggle to make a living could easily trigger the old programming. The daily code of gratitude acted as a shield, a constant reinforcement of the new belief system. By consistently focusing on and feeling grateful for abundance even in its small current forms, I was strengthening the new paradigm and making it more resilient to external negativity. Bob Proctor's teaching on the environment being a reflection of the inner world was profound here. He explained that your external results, including your financial situation, are a manifestation of your internal state, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. If I wanted my external financial world to change, the work had to be done internally first. Gratitude was the tool for this internal renovation. It wasn't about chasing money directly. It was about becoming a person who experiences abundance internally, so that abundance naturally flows into their external reality. He would use the analogy of the thermostat. Your paradigm is your financial thermostat setting. If it's set to $50,000 a year, your subconscious will work diligently to ensure you stay around that level, even if opportunities for more arise. Trying to earn more without changing the thermostat setting is an uphill battle against your own internal programming. Gratitude, when practiced consistently and with feeling, slowly but surely recalibrates that thermostat setting upwards. By feeling grateful for what you have and what is coming, you are essentially telling your subconscious, our new normal is more. Our new normal is ease. Our new normal is abundance. This process isn't always linear. There were days when the old fear felt overwhelming. Days when gratitude felt forced or hollow. Bob acknowledged this resistance, calling it the terror barrier. When you try to move from your current paradigm, your comfort zone, towards a new, higher level of achievement or abundance, there's often fear, anxiety, and self-doubt that surface. This is the subconscious mind's resistance to change, trying to keep you in the familiar, even if the familiar is limiting. Pushing through this barrier requires conscious effort and persistence. The daily gratitude practice became my way of consistently pushing through that barrier, impressing the new idea of abundance onto the subconscious despite the fear. The feeling of gratitude also has a powerful effect on creativity and problem solving. When you're in a state of fear or lack, your focus narrows. Your brain is in survival mode. When you're in a state of gratitude and appreciation, you are relaxed, open, and receptive. Ideas flow more freely. Solutions to financial challenges that seemed impossible from a place of worry often appeared naturally when I was operating from a place of gratitude. This wasn't magic. It was simply changing my internal state to one that was conducive to receiving inspiration and seeing opportunities that were always there, but obscured by fear. Bob often spoke about understanding the law of perpetual transmutation. That energy is constantly moving from one form to another. Your thoughts and feelings are energy. By consciously changing the energy of your thoughts and feelings through gratitude, you are setting in motion a transmutation of your current circumstances into something better, something more abundant. It's a scientific process, a universal law, not wishful thinking. The daily code involved more than just spontaneous moments. It incorporated specific practices like conscious visualization while feeling grateful. Instead of visualizing future abundance from a place of wanting which reinforces lack, I learned to visualize future abundance from a place of gratitude, for it already existing or being on its way. Feeling deeply thankful for the future freedom, security, and joy that financial abundance would bring, as if it were already here. This combined the power of visualization with the high vibration of gratitude, creating a potent signal to the subconscious and the universe. Another key aspect was linking gratitude not just to tangible things, but to intangible qualities and opportunities. Being grateful for my skills, my talents, my willingness to learn, the people who supported me, the opportunities that had shown up, even the challenging ones that taught me lessons. This broadened the focus of gratitude beyond just money and possessions, cultivating a richer sense of overall abundance in life. This holistic approach, as Bob emphasized, is crucial because abundance isn't just about money. It's about well-being in all areas: health, relationships, purpose, and finances. When you cultivate abundance internally in one area, it naturally starts to overflow into others. The persistence required cannot be overstated. There were days when the external circumstances looked bleak, when the numbers didn't seem to be improving, and the temptation to fall back into worry was immense. This is where the daily code aspect was non-negotiable. It's a discipline, like training for a marathon. You don't skip training because you had a bad day. You show up, you do the work, even when you don't feel like it, because the paradigm change happens through consistent emotional impression. Bob often said, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." The daily practice of gratitude trains you to see the abundance, the opportunities, the good, regardless of the surface-level circumstances. The gradual shift was perhaps the most powerful part of the process. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic windfall, but a slow, steady unfolding. The feeling of chronic anxiety around money began to lift. Small opportunities started appearing. Freelance gigs I hadn't sought out, unexpected discounts, finding money I didn't know I had. More significantly, my behavior changed. I started making more empowered financial decisions, not out of fear, but from a sense of quiet confidence. I became more open to receiving, less resistant to the idea of having more. This changed internal state led to changed actions, which inevitably led to changed results. This daily code became less of a chore and more of a natural way of being. It embedded a fundamental trust in the universe and its laws, a deep knowing that as I consistently align myself with the frequency of abundance through gratitude, abundance must, by law, flow into my experience. It's a continuous practice, a lifelong commitment to conscious living and internal alignment. Understanding how to navigate the resistance and integrate this principle deeply into the subconscious is crucial for long-term transformation. Embracing the Coda B principle truly initiated a fundamental rewiring, an ongoing dialogue between my conscious intent and the powerful, often stubborn, patterns held within my subconscious mind. It wasn't merely about adding a new habit. It was about confronting the ingrained beliefs that had shaped my reality, particularly around finances, for decades. These beliefs weren't always loud or obvious. They were the quiet assumptions, the automatic responses, the deeply held convictions formed through years of experience, observation, and societal conditioning, often near places like the Severn Bridge district where the sense of limitation felt palpable. Bob Proctor spoke extensively about how these paradigms operate. He'd explain that a paradigm is like a program running in the background, governing your behavior and consequently your results, without conscious effort. You can consciously desire financial freedom, but if your subconscious paradigm is wired for scarcity, that program will subtly, yet powerfully, guide your actions, your reactions, and even your perception of opportunities, keeping you trapped within its limitations. My Coda B practice became the conscious, deliberate tool to rewrite that program. Going beyond the initial steps of structured gratitude moments and scattered appreciative thoughts throughout the day, I realized the depth of the subconscious resistance. It's not just about negative thoughts popping up. It's about the feeling that accompanies them. Fear, worry, doubt, a sense of unworthiness. These are the emotions that give the scarcity paradigm its power and its root in the subconscious. Gratitude, with genuine feeling, is the antidote, because it generates the opposite emotions: peace, confidence, sufficiency, worthiness. The process of identifying specific limiting beliefs felt like peeling back layers. It wasn't enough to say, "I believe money is hard." I had to uncover the why behind it. Was it a belief inherited from my family? A conclusion drawn from past financial struggles? A fear of responsibility that comes with having more? As I uncovered these, I would use the Coda B practice to specifically counter them. For instance, if the belief was, "I'm not smart enough to manage money," my gratitude practice would pivot to focus intensely on my intelligence, my capacity to learn, past instances of successful problem-solving, the knowledge I had acquired about finance. It was a deliberate flooding of my inner world with evidence and feelings that contradicted the limiting belief. This wasn't just positive thinking, it was targeted mental and emotional conditioning. Bob Proctor often emphasized that thinking is the function of the conscious mind, but feeling is the function of the subconscious mind. You can think, "I am abundant" all day, but if you feel lack, the subconscious responds to the feeling, not the thought. The daily gratitude practice wasn't just thinking about things to be thankful for. It was about sinking into the feeling of appreciation, letting that warmth and sufficiency permeate my being. This feeling became the language I used to communicate with my subconscious, impressing upon it the new reality of abundance. This deep emotional engagement was crucial for building positive expectation. Bob talked about expectation being a powerful, creative force. Hope is passive. Expectation is active. When you genuinely feel grateful for what you have, you automatically start building an expectation of having more good things. You wouldn't be grateful for a glass of water if you expected to be perpetually thirsty. Gratitude for current blessings cultivates a mindset that expects more blessings to follow. It's a natural outgrowth of feeling sufficient and worthy in the present moment. Furthermore, this internal shift, fueled by gratitude, didn't just make me feel better. It fundamentally altered my actions. When operating from a place of scarcity and worry, my financial actions were reactive, defensive, and often fearful. I would avoid looking at bills, hoard money out of fear, or miss opportunities because I was too afraid to take a risk. As gratitude cultivated a feeling of internal abundance and confidence, my actions became more proactive and empowered. I started seeking out opportunities to increase my income, researching investments, creating budgets not from a place of restriction, but from a place of conscious management and growth. The feeling of sufficiency bred courage and clarity. Gratitude didn't magically make problems disappear, but it changed my internal state so that I could approach those problems from a place of resourcefulness and possibility, not paralysis. It led to inspired action, action that feels right, flows naturally, and is aligned with the desired outcome. Bob would say, "Faith and fear both demand you believe in something you cannot see. You choose." Gratitude helped me choose faith by constantly focusing my attention and feeling on the good, the potential, and the things that were working. An often overlooked aspect that became vital was the principle of giving. Bob Proctor frequently spoke about the law of circulation, that to receive, you must also give. Practicing gratitude made giving feel natural and joyful, not like a sacrifice. When you are genuinely grateful for the resources you have, even if they feel small, the act of giving a portion of them, whether money, time, or effort, reinforces the subconscious belief that you have enough to give. This is a profoundly powerful counter-message to the scarcity paradigm which screams, "Hold on tight, there isn't enough." Giving from a place of gratitude is an affirmation of abundance, telling the universe and your subconscious that you are already operating from a place of sufficiency, thus opening the channels for more to flow in. It shifts the focus from "what can I get?" to "what can I give?" And paradoxically, the latter is the path to true abundance. One of the deepest internal blocks many people face with money isn't just the fear of not having enough, but the feeling of unworthiness or guilt around having more than others, or simply feeling undeserving of wealth or ease. These feelings can unconsciously sabotage efforts to improve financial circumstances. Gratitude served as a powerful cleanser for these emotions. By focusing on and feeling thankful for the inherent good in myself, my unique talents, my capacity to contribute, the simple gift of life and consciousness, I began to build a deep-seated sense of inherent worthiness, separate from my financial status. This allowed me to receive financial good without the accompanying guilt or fear that would previously push it away. Being grateful for my own value and potential was just as important as being grateful for external resources. Impressing the subconscious with this new pattern wasn't just about repetition in words, but repetition in feeling. It's like polishing a stone. Each pass with the cloth, if done with consistent pressure and movement, brings out a deeper shine. Each moment of genuine gratitude, each deliberate pivot away from scarcity and towards appreciation, was a stroke of polish on the surface of my subconscious mind, allowing the inherent brilliance of my potential for abundance to show through. Bob often talked about the power of feeling, that the subconscious is a feeling mind. So the more feeling I injected into my gratitude, the more quickly and effectively the new pattern was established. This is why connecting gratitude to simple physical sensations or deep emotional experiences was so effective. It engaged the feeling nature of the subconscious directly. Cultivating the state of gratitude became the goal, rather than just performing the action. It's the difference between trying to look happy and genuinely being happy. Trying requires effort. Being is effortless. As the Coda B practice became more ingrained, moments of genuine appreciation began to arise spontaneously. Even in challenging circumstances, I started seeing things differently. Bob Proctor's insight, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see," became profoundly clear. My external reality might not have changed overnight, but my internal perception of it did. I started seeing the abundance that was already present, but had been invisible to me through the lens of scarcity. I saw the incredible value of everyday services, the interconnectedness of the economy, the myriad ways resources flow. My awareness expanded, and with expanded awareness comes expanded opportunity. Addressing the skepticism, both internal and external, was part of the journey. The logical mind, conditioned by years of focusing only on tangible evidence and linear cause and effect, often rebelled against the idea that changing an internal feeling could possibly affect external financial results. It would demand proof, tangible evidence before fully committing to the feeling. But Bob taught that the law of attraction works the other way around. The internal state must shift first for the external reality to change. Persistence in the feeling of gratitude, even when the logical mind doubted, was the key to bypassing this resistance. Each time I chose feeling grateful over feeling worried, despite the external appearance, I strengthened the faith muscle and weakened the doubt. Connecting this practice to the idea of service became a natural extension. Bob Proctor emphasized that true wealth is accumulated through providing value to others. When I felt genuinely grateful for my skills, knowledge, and capacity to contribute, it naturally fueled a desire to use these gifts in service. This shifted my focus from solely trying to get money to trying to provide value. This change in focus, driven by gratitude for my ability to serve, opened up new pathways for income that I hadn't considered when I was solely focused on my own perceived lack. Abundance flowed more freely when I was aligned with the principle of giving and service. And gratitude was the foundation of that alignment. The process is truly continuous. There isn't an end point where you achieve abundance and stop practicing gratitude. It's a way of being, a state of alignment that must be maintained and deepened. As I experienced shifts and improvements, the gratitude practice expanded to include being thankful for the growth itself, for the lessons learned, for the increasing capacity to handle more good. This created a positive feedback loop where gratitude for progress fueled more progress, leading to more gratitude, and so on. It's about continuously expanding your capacity to receive by consistently vibrating at the frequency of appreciation and abundance. The goal isn't just a number in the bank account, it's becoming a person who experiences abundance in all areas of life, recognizing that true wealth is holistic. And it all starts day by day, moment by moment, with the simple, profound power of feeling grateful. If this perspective resonates with you, and you're ready to explore these principles further, and learn how to truly reprogram your internal world for external abundance, consider subscribing and giving this video a like. Your engagement helps share these life-changing ideas with more people who are seeking a path to financial freedom and personal mastery.